Hey, what's up everyone? Doing another video here on the Qiewa Q1 Hummer. This one's just basically based off of, I got a question from a viewer the other day about the Qiewa Q1 Hummers, and so I kind of decided this would be a good video to do on this. I've got a lot of experience with these things. I've got two of them, my son, mine. I got a friend that after riding ours decided to go out and buy two, one for him and his girlfriend, so I've personally got experience with 4 of these scooters. So basically I'm basing this video off a question a viewer asked, and let me just read it. This question's from, let me turn my brightness here, sorry about that. It's from a viewer, Your Average Rasian. And anyway, he asked, I have a question. I'm really considering purchasing the Q1, but on many scooter forums, Qiewa is given a lot of hate, just like the Xiaomi 365. I bit the bullet for the M365, turned out to be a fantastic scooter. Will it be the same for this scooter? I want a more powerful scooter, but that's a hard pill to swallow for 1.5K. And I thought that's a really great question, so I figured I'd do a video on that with my experiences on these things and whether I think it's worth the money to buy one of these scooters. He did have a follow-up question or comment. Let me read that one to you also. This one just came in today. And I told him I'm going to do this video and get it up as soon as possible to answer his questions. So here's the other one. Hey, I found this scooter forum dedicated to the Q1. I asked them pros and cons of the scooter. They say it lacks power, that the motor seems like a 500 watt and top speed is 25 miles per hour if you're on the slightly heavier end of 200 pounds. I'm not too concerned about range since you were able to get 30 miles with around half a charge left. True. But I'm not concerned but I am concerned that I'm about to drop 1.5 G to only get half what is advertised. I don't really have hills since I live in LA, but I still want to make it up a hill that isn't too steep. Okay, these are all very good points, very good questions. I'm going to do my best to answer it. First of all, I want you guys to know I have nothing to do with Qiewa whatsoever. I could really have no interest in anyone buying this scooter. All the videos I do, and if you haven't watched my videos before, I've got a lot of videos on upgrades I've done to these things, modifications, repairs. I've got a whole slew of videos. I've got a lot of experience fixing these things, modifying, tinkering around with them. First of all, just right off the bat, I think it's a great scooter for the money. Having said that, the two I bought and the two my friend bought were open box scooters, meaning somebody had bought them and returned them. And so we bought them at a cost of, I paid about $1,000 for each one of these. My friend actually got one of his for $1,000, and he got the other one for $900 for this scooter. So first of all, to pay the full price, you're saying 1.5 G. Actually, right now you can get the brand new off the Qiewa website for $13.79. And on Amazon, $13.99, so let's say around $1,400 if you were going to buy the new one. And they do actually, I just looked today, they have an open box one for sale on their website for $1,000. So first of all, my first point is, would I pay $1,400 for a brand new one of these scooters? That'd be a little steep for me. When I bought these scooters about 1.5 years ago, my budget was $1,000. I didn't want to go over $1,000. I was looking out there to see what was available, and back then and even today, for $1,000. Now again, I'm not talking about the brand new one for $1,400. I'm talking about the out of box one, $1,000 delivered to your door. I don't see anything on the market today for $1,000 or less that can come anywhere close to the performance, the distance that these things have. Okay, that's my first thing. Would I pay $1,400 for a brand new one? No, because I always like trying to save money. And so I'd rather save $400 and get an open box one. Now mine and my son's, we got them. I'm guessing they had between 30 to 50 miles on them based on what I saw. They weren't terribly clean. My son's rear tire had more wear than mine. On the other hand, my friend bought 2 of them, and I would bet that his 2 had less than a couple miles on. They're brand freaking new. They looked clean, nowhere, absolutely nowhere on the tires. The odometer said 1 and 3 miles. Now you might think they can reset the odometer. I haven't found a way to reset the odometer on these things, but just based on the condition and the way they looked, those scooters were brand new. So he got smoking deals on those, $1,000 for one of them, $900 for the other one, and they were practically brand new. People return them for a reason. I understand that. Maybe it's like these people on the forum. They felt they were underpowered. I don't know what you're going to expect to get for $1,000. Okay, having said that, let me address some of these questions here. Okay, number one, lacks power. Again, I don't see any scooters on the market right now that have an 800 watt motor that, my personal experience with the settings I've done on these and airing up the tires, you gotta air up your tires, people. 50 PSI in these tires. If you've got 40 PSI in your tires or 45 PSI in your tires, guess what? You're not gonna hit the top speed and your distance is gonna go down. It's just like riding a bike on a flat tire. You're gonna get tired out quick and you're gonna use a lot of energy and you're not gonna be able to ride that fast with a flat tire. Okay, not saying they're flat, but the less air you have in your tires, the more friction it's creating on the ground. Friction creates resistance. Resistance uses your battery, takes down your top speed, takes down your distance. So, point one, air up your tires. 50 PSI in these tires. I keep them at 50 PSI. I can hit, personally, I weigh 180 pounds. I can hit 31 fresh charge. That's the other thing. Fresh charge. 31 miles per hour I can hit. 50 PSI in the tires. Right off the battery charger, I can hit 31. Now, as your battery drains down, you're not going to hit the top speed anymore. This is true with any scooter, not just this one. The speed of the scooters is based on the voltage. The higher the voltage, the faster the scooter is going to go. Your fastest point is going to be right off the charger. If you have half a charge, okay, I'm down to half a charge, I can still hit 28 on mine. I'm not going to hit 31, I'm not going to hit 30, I can still hit 28. Level surface we're talking here. Not going downhill, not going uphill. Level surface is what I'm referring to. So that ain't bad. Me personally, 30 miles per hour, 28 miles per hour, heck, even 25 miles per hour on a scooter is fairly quick. Quick enough for me, quick enough for my 11-year-old son, certainly. So I guess the answer to your question kind of depends on what you're looking for. Anyway, again, going back to these questions, lacks power. Depends on what you consider power is. Are you comparing it to a dual motor 3200 watt scooter? Yes, it will lack power compared to that. This is an 800 watt scooter, folks. It's 48 volt, 800 watt scooter. It's not going to compare to a 60 volt, 3200 watt scooter, a 1600 watt scooter. Yeah, I mean that's just common sense, right? So if you're comparing it to something like that, yeah, it lacks power compared to that. You're comparing it to a rental scooter. A Xiaomi M365, something like this is one of our first scooters, Zoom Strider, 32 volt. This is a 32 volt scooter. It's got a 500 watt motor. This has got an 800 watt motor. This is 48 volt battery. This is 32 volt battery. Huge difference. This thing tops out at about 18 miles per hour. The 500 watt motor gives it better hill climbing power than, say, a Xiaomi M365. Can't hold a stick to this. This thing, I can climb up hills like nothing. I'll get to more on that in a bit. Anyway, so yeah, feels like a 500 watt motor. Here's a 500 watt motor right here. 32 volt, 500 watt. Wattage isn't everything. Voltage is very important. The higher the voltage, the more speed you have. The better you're going to be able to climb a hill. Yeah, the 500 watt motor is good on this, but it tops out at 18 miles per hour. Better than a rental M365, definitely. This was a $600 scooter when I bought it a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, I don't remember. This is the first edition of the Zoom Strider. Still a great scooter, so light. I can carry this thing anywhere. I can carry it over my shoulder. I've ridden on this scooter and carried this one on my shoulder before. Just a different type of scooter. Depends on what you're looking for. Anyway, back to the point at hand. As soon as I not drop this, but you can stand down. Okay, so lacks power. That's all relative to what you're comparing it to. You're looking for more power, go out and buy a dual motor scooter, 3200 watt, 60 volt, and guess what? You're going to be paying $2,500 minimum for something like that. If you can afford that, great. If I can afford that, heck yeah, if I could afford it, if money was an object, I'd have the top of the line Dualtron sitting right here. And I'd be loving it. I'd be going 60 miles an hour down the road and probably killing myself too, but that's another story. Anyway, so lacks power. Again, relative. I don't think so. For the money you're paying for these, again, open box, not the brand new $1,400 one. I'm talking $1,000 for the scooter. Lacks power. Show me anything for $1,000 that can compare to this scooter. Okay, next one. Motor seems like a 500 watt. Okay, again, I just went through this. 500 watt motor on this scooter, goes 18 miles per hour. Climbs hills better than a rental, but nowhere near what this thing's doing with a 48 volt battery and an 800 watt motor. So, what 500 watt motor are they comparing it to? I don't know. It's night and day. I mean, not even close. This 500 watt motor on this scooter compared to the 800 watt motor on this scooter. Again, the voltage has a lot to do with it. Maybe if you had a 48 volt 500 watt scooter, it certainly would be better than this one at 32 volts. So, don't know what they're comparing it to. Again, you got to take that with a grain of salt because I don't know what they're comparing it to. Top speed is 25 miles per hour. It's slightly heavier than 200 pounds. Okay, again, I don't know. I can't speak for what their scooters are doing, how their scooters are set up, how they're riding them. I can't speak for this scooter and my friend's two scooters that I've personally ridden 4 of these things, all out-of-box scooters. I've set the settings for max speed. I've done other videos on that to show the max settings so you get the max speed out. And again, I can't stress enough, 50 psi in these tires, folks. If you don't air up the tires, you can't expect to get the top speed. You can't expect to get the max distance. 50 psi in the tires, the settings set for max speed. I'm 180 pounds, 170 to 180 pounds, anywhere in there. I can get 31 miles per hour on a fresh charge again, right off the charger, 31 miles per hour, level road, GPS, not going by here, not going by what the speedometer on here says. And by the way, in the settings, you can calibrate that so the speedometer and odometer on the scooter will match what a GPS says. I've done another video on that. Go look at that if you want to. Okay, so then the other thing I did, my son weighs 80 pounds, and I weighed myself yesterday. I was at 170. He's at 80 pounds. Together, we're 250 pounds. I got on his scooter. We both got on his scooter yesterday. Didn't use mine because I've modified my controller for greater torque. And man, that thing, the torque and acceleration on this thing with that modification, I would put that up against a dual motor scooter, a lower wattage one, maybe a 1200 watt, maybe 1600 watt, 2 800 watt motors. I got one single 800 watt motor. And with that torque mod I did on this thing, I would put this thing online in a drag race. And I guarantee you, I'd at least come close to keeping up with that thing in a quarter mile. No doubt about it. It's got so much torque. Beyond that, beyond the acceleration, this thing will give me up the hill like nothing. The reason why I did that modification to the controller is because my son, he weighs 80 pounds. He's riding a Q1. I weigh 180. I'm riding a Q1. We've got some hills around here. We'd go riding. We get to that hill, bam, he'd start pulling away from me. Like, man, I wish I could keep up with him. I did this torque mod on him. I can keep up with them up the hills. Literally the same hill that I used to be able to get max out at like 22 miles per hour. Going up a hill, I can now hit 27, 28, and really quick, because the torque mod on this thing, you get to that top end speed way quicker, way faster than you do with the stock one. Didn't mod his because he doesn't need it. He's 80 pounds. He doesn't need it. With mine, I can keep up with them. I can hit that top speed really quick. It's a night and day difference. I'll tell you what. I would never ride this thing against stock after doing that mod. Just something to keep in mind. If you're worried about, I can't climb the hill, I wish I had more acceleration, the motor seems weak, do this torque mod, and man, it's a night and day difference. I can't stress that enough. Again, I can't stress enough, 50 PSI, said there's a lot in other videos and a lot of comments, and I just don't think the message is getting out there. 50 PSI in these tires, that's going to make a 3 to 4 miles per hour difference, I believe. Compared to like if you only got 40 PSI in it or 45, you're going to gain at least 2 or 3 miles per hour on your top end. Maybe more. Okay, so anyway, back to what I was getting at. My son, 80 pounds. I weighed out at 170 yesterday. We both got in his scooter. Not mine with the torque mod, but his stock scooter. 250 pound combined weight between the two of us. We got on a scooter. Again, off a fresh battery charge because I want to test this at full battery charge. If you say, I can't hit 31 miles an hour, but you got half a battery, makes sense. That makes sense. Any scooter, as the battery drains, is going to get slower on the top end. No doubt about it. It's not a car running on a gas engine. It's running on electric. the voltage, the higher the voltage, the faster you go. As your battery drains, you're going to lose top end. There's no way around that. That's just the way it is. Again, still, after 50%, after I use half my battery, I can't hit 31 miles per hour. I can't get around 28, 27. That's to be expected, right? And okay, so anyway, my son and I get back on the scooter, 250 pounds between the two of us, fresh charge, in a very short distance, less than a quarter mile. We hit 26 miles per hour with 250 pounds on the scooter, with the settings that I've done to the control, to the display, and the tires at 50 psi, and on 100% fresh charge. We hit 26 miles per hour, 250 pounds between the two of us, and it did not seem sluggish. It accelerated. I was surprised at how well it did with 250 pounds on it. I'm guessing if we had more of a straightaway, we might have got up to 28 with 250 pounds on it. We were coming up on a curve, so I had to back off on the throttle, but that's all I needed to see. I could hit 26 miles per hour with 250 pounds on it, and not too long of a distance, maybe a couple of blocks. That's the thing too, the stock, it will take time to get up to that top speed. It's not going to instantly do it. You do the torque mod, you're going to get up there really quick, a lot faster than the stock. So if that's something you're interested in, and there's something you're worried about, oh, it doesn't accelerate fast enough, it doesn't climb hills as good with my weight on it, do the freaking torque mod, folks. It's a wire. It costs you absolutely nothing. It costs you a little time to take it apart, take the controller apart, solder a wire, and bam, it costs you nothing to do it. Just my opinion. I've had no problems with it. You can watch my videos on that too. So anyway, top speed 25 miles per hour, slightly heavier than 200 pounds. Not seeing it. Yeah, 25 miles per hour. Yeah, we did 25 miles per hour. We did 26 miles per hour with 250 pounds on it. So slightly heavier than 200. I'm guessing if you got your tires aired up to 50 psi and you're off a fresh charge, and you got the settings set the way that I've demonstrated in other videos, and you're 200 pounds or slightly over 200 pounds, I'm guessing you could still hit 28. I'll say 28. I don't know for sure, but 20, 25, you don't got enough air in your tires. You don't got the settings right. You're not on a fresh charge. Yeah, that's kind of how it is. You know, your battery drains. You're not going to hit the top end. That's with any scooter. True, you get a Dualtron Thunder or a 60 volt scooter. These are 48 volts, folks. 48 volts, better than 32 volts, better than 24 volts, not better than 60 volts. In fact, if I ever have to get a new battery for this thing, which I don't know, it's probably going to take years before this one wears out, from what I understand of LiPo batteries. But if I do ever have to buy a new battery for this, I'm going to go on AliExpress. I'm going to buy a 52 volt battery. That's going to give me about 4 more volts. That's going to give me about 3 or 4 more miles per hour, so my top speed will then turn into 35-ish, and then after I get 50% charge or so, I'll still be hitting 30 miles per hour. That's my plan. Not going to rush out and do that. That's probably about a $400 investment for a new battery on AliExpress. While I'm on the subject, if you're going to buy parts or anything, or even if you're going to buy a scooter and you want to get more bang for your buck, go download the app for AliExpress and go looking around on there, and you're going to save a lot of money. For example, you can watch my other videos. I bought the tires on AliExpress. I bought new forks on AliExpress, the inner tubes, and saved 75% compared to what you're going to pay for those parts on Qiewa. Just a suggestion. All right, so, and then, again, back to hill climbing concerns. Yeah, it's a 48 volt battery, 800 watt single drive motor. On stock, some of the hills we got up here, just for comparison, we kind of live up on a hill. So, and we can go up higher up that hill, we can go down the hill. Anytime we leave, we got to come back uphill to get home. So just for example, before I did the torque mod on mine, on a particular hill, I could hit 22 miles per hour going up that hill, and it took me a little while to get up to that speed. Sorry about that, it just kicked up really high, and I thought my umbrella was going to take out my camera, but anyway, so I was able to hit 22 miles up that hill before I got to the top, and yeah, it took a little while to get there. I did the torque mod. I can now do 27, 28 miles an hour going up that hill, and it's there in a hurry. It doesn't take a long time to get there. Again, just stressing that torque mod. If that's a concern to you, is getting uphill or faster acceleration, the torque mod is the answer. That's about all I can say on that subject. Anyway, so there you go. I've addressed those concerns. I'd just like to go on with a few things. Again, If you want to go look on the Qiewa website, it's QiewaScooter.com, QIEWASCOOTER.com. Right now, I looked this morning, they have an open box scooter on there for $1,000. Sometimes they're sold out of them, but over the last year or so, sometimes they have them, sometimes they don't. I'm pretty sure it's just, you keep looking, and sooner or later you're going to find one on there. So, again, I would not pay the $1,400 for a brand new one. And the reason for that is, if I were going to spend $1,400 to $1,500 on a scooter, I can go on AliExpress and I can find a 60 volt dual motor, 3200 watt, 2400 watt. I can find much more of a scooter for $1,500 on AliExpress, buying it from China. Yes, it's going to take a month or so to get here. Yes, you're dealing with a company in China. I bought a lot of stuff off AliExpress. Basically, you pay them, they hold the money. Once you get the product from the user who's selling on AliExpress, and you say, yep, I got it, AliExpress then pays the guy. So it's pretty safe. Most places there take PayPal. I've never had a problem. I've bought a lot of stuff there. One thing though, if you're going to buy a scooter off AliExpress, then don't just go and click through the options and pick the scooter. Email the seller. Get in contact with them. Tell them exactly what you're looking for. I want the 3200 watt dual motor, two 1600 watt motors. I want the 60 volt battery, and I want a 30 amp hour battery. So anyway, that's why I wouldn't pay $1,400 for a brand new one of these, because for $1,400, $1,500, here's just one on AliExpress, FLJ scooters. You can get a 60 volt, 1600 dual. It's 3200 total watts, 1600 watt per motor, two motors on front and back. Hydraulic brakes, 32 amp hour battery, and you can get it delivered to your door with shipping, approximately right around $1,600. Pretty good deal. You can also get a 52 volt, 1200 times 2, so 2400 watt, two 1200 watt motors, 52 volt, 30 amp hour battery for about $1,300 delivered to your door. Yeah, if I were going to spend that kind of money, I wouldn't buy one of these for $1,400. I would go on AliExpress and get more bang for the buck. Okay, having said that, I do think this is a great deal for $1,000 for one of these scooters. Again, look all over the internet. Do what you want. See if you can find a scooter that has a 48 volt, 26 amp hour battery. It's a big battery, folks. The amp hours on the battery, just if you don't know, is like the gas tank in your car. The more amp hours you have on a battery, the further you're going to go. The more distance you're going to go, the longer it's going to last before you have to recharge it. So a 10 amp, this thing here, 32 volt, I think it's like an 8 amp hour battery. I can get maybe 12, 13 miles out of it, something like that, going 18 miles per hour. This has got 26 amp hour battery. There's a lot of dual motor scooters out there that don't have a 26 amp hour battery. They have a 20 amp hour battery. Let's just say, for comparison, let's say you found a dual motor, 1600 watt front, 1600 watt back, and okay, maybe it's 60 volt, but it's got a 26 amp hour battery. This has got a 26 amp hour battery. Which scooter is going to go farther? The dual motor or this one? This one. You got two motors. If you're driving both motors, both of those motors are sucking juice out of the battery. That battery's going to drain a lot faster than a single motor battery or a single motor scooter. Okay, let's say you got the dual motors, but you're going to turn off that front motor. You're only going to use it as a single motor scooter. Okay, one, you're defeating the purpose of having the dual motors at that point. You're going to lessen your speed, and really, if you're buying a dual motor scooter, it's probably because you want to go faster or you want to have more torque to get up a hill. So if you disable that motor, you're kind of, what's the point at that point? Also, if you disable one of the motors, because a lot of them you can shut off one of the motors and go single motor. Again, I don't know why you do that if you buy a dual motor scooter, but the motors don't freewheel like the front tire on these things. Because there's no motor on it, it freewheels. If you were to spin the rear motor, the rear tire which has the motor in it, there's resistance to it. The motors have resistance to them. So if you've got two motors and you turn one of the motors off, you have extra resistance that the single motor is trying to push that other motor that's turned off. That too is going to take more power. So a dual motor scooter with a 26 amp hour battery, or a single motor scooter with a 26 amp hour battery, and you start them at the same place, even if you go the same speed the dual motor one's going to drain faster than this one because you're running two motors. You're going to get a lot more distance out of a single motor than you will out of a dual motor if the batteries are equal. Okay, so for that reason, if you do buy a dual, if I were going to buy a dual motor scooter, I would want a minimum. I would want a battery bigger than this one. I'd want more voltage, so it wouldn't be 48 volts. I wouldn't even, if I were going to go to that point, I wouldn't even bother with 52 volt. I'd want 60 volt. You can even get 72 volts, but 60 volts seems to be the main ones right now. So I would be looking for a 60 volt dual motor scooter, maybe 1600 watts per motor, 3200 watts total. And I wouldn't be wanting a 26 amp hour battery, and some of them come with a 20 amp hour battery. I wouldn't want that because I would have no range. I'm used to the range I can get with this thing. So yeah, if I were going to do that, I'd have a 60 volt motor, and I'd be looking for a minimum of a 30 amp hour battery. I would be more happy to find a 35 amp hour battery, but guess what? The bigger the battery, the more expensive the scooter gets. So that's why, like these ones, these FLJs I found on AliExpress, 60 volt, two 1600 watt motors, 3200 watt total, 60 volt, 32 amp hour battery, around 1600 bucks. That seems pretty good to me. 32 amp hour battery gives me a little bit bigger battery than this to compensate for the dual motors. Still don't know if I'd get the range that I can out of this one, but it'd probably be pretty close, I'm thinking. Ultimately, yeah, give me a 40 amp hour battery, a 45 amp hour battery. That would be great, but then your prices are going up. You're talking, you're probably hitting the $2,000 range at that point. So it all depends. What kind of money do you want to spend? What do you want out of the scooter? Do you want distance? Do you want speed? For all the trade-offs of the scooter with a 48 volt battery, you get decent speed out of it. Not crazy speed. No, you can go 30 miles per hour. You're not going to go 40. You're not going to go 50. But you get decent speed out of it. And with that 26 amp hour battery, riding pretty fast. I mean, not just laying on the throttle the whole time, but riding between 25 to 30 miles per hour. I have no doubt. I did on one ride. I went 26 miles on one ride, and still had like 42% of my battery left. Not going by the battery indicator on the thing, but on my meter. I took my USB port off, and I put on a meter, so I can see the true voltage of my battery. Tell you what, folks, the battery meter on the display, it's very rough. I mean, you could be down to 75% and still going to show you all 6 bars. On the other end, it can show 0 bars, and I don't know if any of you have driven that far, but after it goes to 0 bars and you keep going, then the battery indicator starts flashing. That's the next step below 0 bars. I've been riding this thing with 0 bars and the battery indicator flashing at me. I'm still going 25 miles per hour. So you can't trust the battery indicator on there. It's a very, very rough estimate. Yeah, I've got my meter on there, so I know exactly where my battery's at. I know what kind of range I can get out of this thing. I have no doubt if I want to take it reasonable and ride between 22 to 25 miles per hour, keeping it in between there, I have no doubt I could hit 40, maybe 45, maybe even 50 miles per hour. Or I'm sorry, not 50 miles per hour, 50 miles. Easily 40, no doubt about that. Somewhere between 40 to 50, keeping the speed at 22 to 25 miles per hour. I have no doubt I could do that. Tonight I did the 26 miles and I had like 40% battery left. I started at 85% battery. I wasn't even at the full charge. I did 26 miles. I was riding reasonably, 22, 23, 25. Didn't go any faster than 25 that night. I did 26 miles. So yeah, the full charge, keeping it at that speed, I have no doubt I could go 40 miles. I'm going to start doing some more riding videos. I'll show you guys some of this stuff. I'll show you my max speed when I'm riding it. I'll show you some differences of torque mod makes compared to stock. And I'll do some distance riding. And I'll right there on my GPS, not going by the display because you don't trust the display. I would never trust any of the scooter displays unless you calibrate it to a GPS like you can do with this one. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, just a few more things. Sorry, this is getting kind of long. It sounds like I'm ranting. I'm really not, but I truly believe these are really great scooters for $1,000. Again, if I go to pay $1,400 or $1,500, I go on AliExpress, I buy a dual motor. At that point, money wouldn't be that much of an object to me. And if money weren't an object whatsoever, again, I'd have the top of the line Dualtron Sun Thunders sitting here, or maybe the top of the line Weep Heads, and I'd pay $7,000 for those. So yeah, it all depends on what you're willing to pay. Anyway, trying to wrap this up a little bit here. QiewasScooter.com. You can go on there. They have an open box one on there right now for $1,000. click on e-scooters. You only get a 30-day warranty with those. Yeah, new one you get a year warranty, so that's what you get for your $400, I guess. You can buy them on Amazon. Amazon is $13.99. On the Qiewa website, the new one's $13.79, or the open box one for $1,000, which they say 30 miles or less. These, yeah, mine had 30 miles at least on them. My friends, they didn't have more than a couple miles on them, so it's hit or miss, but yeah, he got some smoking deals on his. Okay, their specs. Qiewa states 37 miles per hour. No, you can't get 37 miles per hour on these. Again, I can hit, and again, speed depends on rider weight, air in the tires, the settings in here, if you're going up a hill, if you're on flat ground, if you're going into a wind. I mean, there's just so many factors that's going to affect your top speed. All scooter manufacturers, I'm pretty much guessing that you can take their top speed and subtract 10% from it. So yeah, they say 37 miles per hour. That's probably with like someone who weighs 10 pounds on it, maybe. Even then, and my son weighs 80 pounds. He can't hit 37 miles per hour on level ground. He can get maybe 33 on level ground on his scooter. He weighs 80 pounds. Okay, top speed 37 miles per hour. No, can't do it. I'm 180 pounds, 170, 180 pounds. I can, off a fresh charge with the 50 psi tire and the setting set the way that I have said in other videos, I can hit 31 miles per hour in a fresh charge on level ground. No doubt about it. I'll do some videos and prove that coming up. Acceleration, same thing. Oh yeah, it doesn't accelerate that fast. Well yeah, compared to a dual motor scooter, you turn on two motors, two 1600 watt motors compared to one 800 watt motor, and hit the throttle, yeah, you're going to have more torque, you're going to accelerate faster, you're going to climb hills better. The kicker here is do the torque mod to this thing, and man, I would like to compare this to a dual motor scooter. And granted, I'm going to top out at 31 miles per hour, but up to 30 miles per hour, I'm thinking I will stay very close to a dual motor scooter. I could be full of shit, I don't know. Sorry about the language. But, I mean, this thing is just amazing with that torque mod on it. Okay, again, rider weight, battery charge, air in the tires, settings, all those things are going to affect your top speed. So people saying, I can only max out at 25 miles per hour. If you got 50 psi in your tires, is it 100% right off the charger? Hey, that's another point. There's an alarm module in the scooter that's constantly drawing battery power from your battery. So if you were to charge this scooter to 100% and didn't even turn it on, it loses a half a volt a day draining from that alarm module. If you let it sit there a week, you charge it fully, don't even turn the scooter on, after a week you've lost 4 volts off your top end. That's going to affect your top speed. That's going to affect your distance. I've done another mod, a hot wire mod I called it, where on mine I just took that module out because I don't use the alarm on it. It's sucking juice from my battery when I don't want to. When the scooter's just sitting there, it's constantly sucking voltage from the battery. So I just took mine out. I put a switch on there so I can still kill the power, so somebody couldn't just jump on and take off on it. My friend, we're going to rig his up in a couple of days. We're going to just put a switch. He wants to keep the alarm in it because he likes that. But I'm just going to put a switch on his alarm so I can cut the power to his alarm. So when he's sitting at home, when the scooter's sitting in his living room, he's not worried about someone stealing it. He can hit that switch, disconnect that alarm module, and it's not going to drain power from his battery. That way you can charge it a week later without riding it. You turn it on, hey, you still got your full charge. That's another thing. Okay, max distance. Qiewa states 68 miles. Well, I think if I were riding this thing in first gear and keeping it to 10 miles per hour, which is about top in first gear, I could maybe hit 68 miles per hour. Am I ever going to ride it like that? No. Like I said, I can ride 22 to 25, reasonable. I call that a reasonable speed. 22 to 25 miles per hour. I have no doubt I can get 40 miles on it. No doubt. Maybe more, maybe a little bit more. If I'm riding full out and constantly riding at the top end, easily can do 20, 25 miles, maybe 30. I've ridden this thing the way I want it before, which I'm not paying attention to. I don't want to go that fast. Just ridden it the way I like to ride, and I've gotten 30 miles out of it before I had to recharge. And even then, I could have probably squeaked some more out of it, but I like riding the thing with the full charge. I don't like riding it when the battery's half empty, 3/4 empty, because I want that top end. So I'm constantly, every ride I come back from, I charge this thing up. I throw it on a charger and charge it up. Is that going to affect the battery and give you less life? From what I understand, I'm no expert on electrical batteries. From all the research I did, though, that's not going to affect your battery. It's not going to lessen the life on it. And if it does, yeah, I'm not too sad because, yeah, I'd like to someday get that 52 volt battery in here and gain a little bit more speed out of it. but I'm not going to go out of my way to do that. I'm going to wait till this one is done. And like I said, we're going on 2 years with these things, and I've noticed no degradation in the battery or my top end speed after a full charge whatsoever. So there you go. I like riding it at full speed. I like having a fresh charge every time I ride it. I don't wait 3 or 4 rides before I recharge it again. So yeah, 68 miles. Yeah, if I were in first gear going 10 miles per hour, I might be able to get there. That's not terribly out of the question. But that's how these places rate these. They're not rating it on your average ride. They're rating it on best case scenario, perfectly flat, no wind, somebody who hardly weighs anything. You know, that's just the way they rate them. Every scooter manufacturer wants to put out these specs to make this seem that their scooter is the best. Can't blame them for that. Can you reach these things? Yeah, this top speed 37 miles per hour. No, down a hill you can. I've hit 35 on a not too big of a hill downhill. I've hit 35. A lot of that has to do with my weight. You know, heavier person when you're going downhill. Okay, that's working in your favor then. Okay, anyway, 800 watt single rear drive. Yes, this is an 800 watt motor. It's stamped right on the side of the motor. Could they lie about it? Qiewa's not making these motors. They're just assembling the scooters. They're buying the motors. Could the manufacturer lie about it and stamp an 800 watt stamp on the side of it? Yes, they could. Why would they do that? I don't think it's logical. And from my riding experience, I have no doubt this is an 800 watt motor. It's got a 25 amp controller. Yes, it does. It will limit your current to the motor. That controller is what's limiting your current or your power to the motor. That's why when you do the torque mod, you're in essence tricking the controller into thinking it's putting less current to the motor. Therefore, when you hit the throttle, it'll give you more current to the motor because it thinks it's giving you less. So it is a 25 amp controller. I think with my torque mod, I'm actually probably pushing at least 35 amps to the motor. The motor can take it, folks. It's an 800 watt motor. They really underrate these motors. 800 watt motors, 48 volt battery. This thing will easily handle a 52 volt battery, 4 more volts. The motor's not going to care. It can handle more current. The motors, let's just put it this way. The voltage and the current they're allowing this thing to do stock to the motor is not utilizing the full capabilities of the motor. That's how you build things. You don't want things to burn out. You don't want things to go bad. So you have this motor that's rated that can do more than what you're giving it, and you don't got to worry about things. I've never burned out my motor. If it does, I'll get another one. If it does, you know what? I'll probably go out and buy a 1,000 watt 10-inch motor. You can get those on AliExpress. I'll buy a 52 volt battery. I'm going to keep, if I need to. Now, I'm not going to spend that money if I don't need to, but if the motor goes out,Ll buy a new motor and I'll bump it up to 1,000 watts. And if the battery goes out, I'll buy a 52 volt battery. I'll get a little more speed out of it. My controller goes out, which funny thing, I actually did blow a couple MOSFETs on my controller. There's another video about that. I repaired it. I bought some MOSFETs off a company in China, same ones that are in the controller. I replaced them, fixed the controller. I do have a spare controller anyway, but you can buy different controllers. I could buy a 30 amp controller, a 35 amp controller, and put it in there and push more power to the motor. But guess what? I basically turned my 25 amp controller into a 35 amp controller by soldering a piece of wire across the shunt to trick the controller into thinking this is not giving me as much current as it is. There you go, free. This has got dual disc brakes. I've heard people say, I can't get the brakes to work. The brakes aren't really good. Watch my brake. I just did a brake video last week, and I'm replacing the pads and adjusting the rear brakes. I can lock up my tires on this thing. I could throw myself over the handlebars if I hit my front brakes too hard. It's just a matter of adjustment. The brakes are fine. They're disc brakes. You're not going, you're going 60 miles an hour, 50 miles per hour on a dual motor scooter. Probably need the hydraulic brakes. The disc brakes might not cut it for that speed. 30 miles an hour, 25 miles per hour, dual disc brakes are plenty for this thing. Just takes the right adjustments. Again, I did videos on that. Just did one last week. Take a look at that if you're having trouble with your brakes. Should solve all your problems. The weight of the scooter is 60 pounds. Okay. Again, you buy a bigger dual motor scooter. It's going to be a little bit bigger than this. It's probably going to weigh 100 pounds or upwards of 100 pounds. This is 60 pounds, not light compared to like that thing, but 60 pounds isn't bad. I can lift this thing up and put it in the back of my truck, fold it up. I have no problems lifting it up over a curb. You know, I've seen some videos of guys riding like the big old Dualtrons. Man, I would love to have one of those things, but they get somewhere where they got to lift it. It's like, you grab the front, I'll grab the back. It takes 2 people to lift that damn thing. Yeah, that's something else keeping. And I wouldn't want to carry this upstairs, certainly, but pick it up and lift it in over a curb, or pick it up and lift it in the back of my truck, or put it in a trunk. I can do that no problem. Hey, I installed these handles. I don't know if you can see it in the video here. I put a handle on the back, custom handle. That's actually a Dualtron handle. I made a custom bracket, put it on there. I'll be uploading that video soon if you're interested in that. Got a handle on it. That makes it so much easier to lift these things. Again, 60 pounds, not terrible, not great. I mean, but what do you expect? You know, you're getting a big scooter here. Again, 48 volt, 26 amp hour battery. Perfect combination to me. I'd really like a 52 volt, get a few more miles per hour out of it. But hey, 48, I can still hit 30 miles per hour. 26 amp hour battery. That's a great battery. Like I said, I've seen dual motor scooters that have a 20 amp battery in it, 20 amp hour, or a 26 amp hour, and they're not going to get the distance of this thing with a single motor. Again, I just been through all that. Okay, so moving along here. You're probably aware of that, but there's different tiers of scooters. You got like something like the round scooters with Xiaomi, or something like this, which is slightly above a rental or Xiaomi. And I would consider that like a lower tier motor scooter. And you go get maybe 15 to 18 miles per hour on it. This one will do 18. And you go get like 12, 13 miles on it. It's a good scooter. If that's all you're looking for, that's fine. We had these about a year and loved them. I have another one, a Lloyd scooter, and that's a good scooter. My son rides that one. That's still a great scooter for what it is. You know, it's a small, portable, easy to commute. If you're going to like carry this on a bus or something, no problem. You're not going to carry this thing on a bus, right? So that's kind of the range for that. That's a good scooter for that. But then as we get one along, we want more power. We want to be able to get up hills better and have a little more speed. So that's why we stepped up to this. So I would consider those the rentals and the Xiaomi's and something like this a low tier, $300-400 right around that range. This I would consider this a medium tier. It's got more power, it's got more speed, it's got a bigger battery, it's going to weigh more. It's kind of the next step up from something like this. There's not a whole lot of scooters in this range. Again, look over the internet, look all over and see if you can find something that's got a 48 volt, 26 amp hour battery, single motor. If you can find a dual motor for that, I guarantee you it's not going to have a very big battery, and you're not going to get much range out of it. For the out-of-box $1,000 price, I have not been able to find anything that can come close to comparing to what these scooters can do. That's what I'm talking about. $1,400 for the new price. I'd go dual motor. I'd go Chinese. I'd go on AliExpress. I'd get me a 60 volt dual motor, 30 amp hour, 35 amp hour battery for around $1,600 if I were going to spend that kind of money. $600 cheaper. This is great. This is all I want right now, especially after doing that torque mount. Okay, so then I consider this like a medium tier. Next tier would be high tier. That's your dual motors. You can get there's some higher end Chinese scooters that around 25. You want to pay 25, $2,600. Go 60 miles per hour, and get a bigger battery. You can do that. That's the next step up. There's some other ones like a 010X. That's I think around $2,500, $2,600. I'm not exactly sure the specs on that. It is dual motor. I don't know what size batteries. I haven't really done a lot of research on that because I'm not even interested in getting a scooter at this point. Like I said, I'm interested in upgrading this one if I need to, getting a 52 volt battery. If the motor ever goes out, which I highly doubt it will, like the 1,000 watt motor and throw it on there. You know. So yeah, $2,500 range. That's your next tier up. Then there's the upper end from that. It comes with just extreme scooters, and now I'm talking about your Dualtron Thunders, the upper end Weepeds, where you're going to pay $3,500 up to $7,000 or $8,000. You can get a scooter for $8,000. That's just insane to me. That better be my primary vehicle if I'm paying eight grand for that. I'm not driving a car anymore at that point. And those things, yeah, you can hit 70 miles per hour and get. I don't know. I'm just guessing because I have no experience with those, but from what I see, 70, 80 miles, hit top speed 60, 70 miles per hour. Yeah, you better be wearing some protective gear and hope you never fall off that thing because you're looking at messing yourself up pretty good. Going 30 miles per hour, we wear motorcycle helmets, full face helmets, armored jackets, knee pads, armored gloves. Because you know what? If me, and especially my son, 11-year-old son, ever falls off this scooter going between 20 and 30 miles per hour, I'm going to be glad I spent some money on protective gear. Tell you what, because hospital bills are not cheap. And I would recommend that to anybody. Bare minimum, get yourself a good helmet. I would recommend a full face helmet. Just get a bike helmet like that. If you fall off this thing and you have a helmet on, but your face slams into the ground, that's going to mess you up. Tell you what. I've heard stories about that. I've had people replied to me in some of my videos. The guy said he fell off a scooter and he was seriously messed up for a while. Anyway, my last point here is, if you're going to go up from a scooter, from something like a Xiaomi or a lower end scooter like this, these are pretty much maintenance free. You don't got to worry about doing anything on these. The whole time I've had these, I've not had to take it apart. I've not had to fix anything. These low end scooters, they only go 15 miles, 18 miles per hour, 12 miles, not terribly fast. This one has an awesome suspension on it, by the way. But yeah, that's what you get for a little bit more money on a lower end scooter. But if you're going to graduate up to a scooter like this, I'd call it medium range, more power, disc brakes. These are not going to be maintenance free. You're going to have to do work. Anything from the medium tier up higher, any scooter from like this on up, you're going to need to at least be able to adjust brakes. You're going to need to adjust things. You might need to fix things. You're going to have to change tires. So I'm not trying to scare anybody, but you have to have a little bit of technical ability. Not much. Again, if you see all my videos, I've replaced the tire, I replaced the inner tube, I replaced the forks, I've done the torque mod, I could replace the controller. I've shown all the connections to the controller. I've had my controller completely removed with the wires hanging out. Got all that documented. So, I mean, if you have a little bit of technical ability and you can adjust brakes, get yourself some Allen wrenches, some regular wrenches. If you have that stuff and you're somewhat familiar with doing a little bit of mechanical work, you could watch my videos and basically you would have no problem servicing the scooter or fixing things, even down to, I did a video when I replaced the MOSFETs in the controller to fix that controller that went out on me. I did a video on that. It's not hard stuff. It's a voltmeter. It's good to have a voltmeter, ohm meter, some minimal tools, and yeah, it's not that bad. There's nothing I've come across on any scooters that I'm like, oh geez, I can't fix this. Having said that, watch the open box video that I did on 2 of the scooters. My friends, when he bought them, I did them open out of the box, open the box. Every one of the scooters that we got, open box scooters, brakes need adjusting right out of the box. Again, Qiewa's service support. Now, Qiewa sells, I believe the scooters come from Taiwan, so if you bought a new one, you probably get one from the factory. I can't speak on what the quality of those are because I've only seen open box scooters. Now, if someone buys one, gets shipped to the United States, and they return it, it gets sent to Wisconsin. It doesn't go back to Taiwan. And there's a quote-unquote service center there in Wisconsin that they supposedly give it to once over and fix problems and such. The guy's a great guy that I've dealt with there. He's like my friends, they had a bad charging port. The charging port was mashed when he got it right out of the box. That was due to the shipment. It was nothing on his bad, but right away, I mean, he got a hold of me. He had a new one on the way the next day. So great responsiveness. Do they really go over these things? You give them an inspection and adjust the brakes? I gotta say, I don't think so, or at least don't pay a lot of attention to it, because some of the things I found, like I said, at least on 3 of these scooters, I had to adjust the brakes right out of the box of the open box scooter. So I don't know, maybe it's a lack of ability, understanding of the scooter. He's probably not really a Qiewa person. He's just a rep or something. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I'll tell you what, I could do a better job myself. I'm not trying to dog them out or anything, but you know, if Qiewa sent their scooters through me, these open box scooters, before shipping them out to somebody, I guarantee you their quality, their name and quality would go up, because I know these things in and out, and I would make sure that these things are in good shape. Anyway, I think that's about it for this. I've gone on long enough. Hope this helps you make your decision. Final thought again. Would I pay $1,400 price for a brand new one of these? No, I would not. I would go on the Chinese website, AliExpress. I would buy a dual motors, 3,200 watt, 60 volt, 30 amp hour battery, hydraulic brakes for about $1,500 roughly. Maybe a couple $100 more than what you pay for a brand new one of these, but you're getting a lot more for that money. On the other hand, paying $1,000 for this scooter, okay, now we're talking, you know, a $600 difference from one of those dual motor scooters. And honestly, when I bought these, and even at this point, paying more than $1,000 for a scooter is that's kind of out of my price range. And for what I can get for $1,000 for one of these out-of-box scooters, yes, I have to do some repairs on them. Yes, I have to adjust the brakes. You're going to need to do that with any scooter from this level up. You're going to need to know how to work on those scooters, because I guarantee you, riding them, we ride these things off-road. We've taken these things over some really, really rough terrain that I'll never go over again. There's one bike trail we took out here, a mountain bike trail. We did it about 3 times, slamming the bottom of the thing up against rocks. Man, we beat the heck out of these things, and they're still going. I won't take those trails anymore, but we still go up camping up north, and we ride on some rough roads that are going back into the forest. And I have no doubt, see, these things handle it. And yeah, any scooter, any upper end scooter from this end up, you're going to be riding like that. You're going to be going faster. You're going to need to be able to adjust your brakes. You're going to have things that break down. You're going to have to replace tires. You're probably going to have to replace springs at some point. You're just going to need to be able to work on the scooter. If you don't have that capability, you don't feel like you can, then I think you better stick with something like this, a lower end scooter that can go 15 to 18 miles per hour, give you 12, 15 miles max, and you're not really going to have to do any work on these. Again, not trying to scare anyone off from that. This stuff isn't that hard. I've got tons of videos out there on everything I've done to these scooters. You could literally, if you knew nothing about the scooter, and you watched my controller video, you could take the deck off of here. You could completely disconnect your controller so that all the wires are hanging there. Get a new controller if you had one, and then connect everything back up. It's not that hard, and with the instructions I did, I think pretty much anybody can handle it if you got just a little bit of technical ability to be able to turn some wrenches, and you have a voltmeter and such. I started doing all these videos because when I bought these, there wasn't much out there. And I figured as I went along and started learning about the scooter, I was just documenting it, put it up on a YouTube channel, figured try to help anybody else who might be having these scooters and need to do things. Another good example is, in the early days, Qiewa had a video on how to change your tire, and it basically showed you using WD-40 and some screwdrivers prying the tire off the rim. Man, that's hard. That would be hard as hell. You know what? There's bolts in this rim. You take these 6 bolts out, of course with the wheel off of the forks there. You take these 6 bolts out, this outer rim comes off, and the tire just easily comes right off the rim. I still to this day don't know why anybody would try to pry a tire off this rim when the rim comes apart. Yeah, that's insane. But anyway, that's enough for now. That's why I started doing these videos, just to get some information out there, get some knowledge out there, let people know what I've learned, what I've done, and hopefully you can help you make a decision on this. I guess that's about it, folks. For $1,000, this is a great scooter. I have no desire to get anything more at this point. We love these scooters. My friend loves the scooters. Personally, I've had 4 experiences. 4 of these scooters I've ridden, open box scooters. I can hit 30 miles per hour on every one of them. I don't know. There you go. Yeah, you're going to find people that can't I can only go for 25 miles per hour. 50 PSI on the tires, that's the first thing. Make sure your tires are 50 PSI. Make sure you have a fresh charge. Yeah, even 50% battery, I can go 28, 27. But yeah, it depends. I can't say what they're doing, why they can only hit 25 miles per hour. Again, me and my son, 250 pounds, riding the same scooter. No problem hitting 26 miles per hour off a fresh charge with 50 PSI in tires. Had to slow down to the curve. I think it probably could have got a couple miles per hour more at 250 pounds. So anyway, there you go, guys. That's my thoughts on this, and hope it helps you maybe make a decision one way or the other. Again, I'm not affiliated with Qiewa. Just trying to give you some information. I really have no desire to try and make anybody buy these scooters. I love them. My friends love them. Other people hate them. That's going to be that way with anything, I guess. But anyway, hopefully this information helps you make an informed decision. Beyond anything, safe riding. Wear a helmet at very minimum. And that's about it, guys. Take care. Have a good one.